I decided to ride the entire length of the Hawthorne Canal shared path this week and then comment on why cyclists avoid riding on it sometimes or all the time. The shared path is just over 1 kilometre long and stretches from the Bay Run in the north to Marion Street in the south. The Bay Run now has a good mix of properly separated bike paths or reasonably wide shared paths, so 99% of cyclists that I see riding around the bay avoid using the road and they ride on the path. The Hawthorne Canal path is nothing like that. In fact, the best description I have for it is that it is the red-headed stepchild of paths in this area. It's unloved, poorly thought out, poorly built, and poorly maintained. Apart from being a pretty shoddy place to ride a bike, I'm amazed pedestrians don't regularly roll their ankles when walking or running on it. Now let's look at it in detail. For starters, it's narrow. If I come up behind someone who isn't walking right on the left-hand edge of the path, I need to take to the grass to get around them safely. Several sections are made up of badly overlapping tarmac that is now almost more patches than original surface. It's common to meet unleashed dogs, which usually aren't a problem, but you have to slow down and be ready to brake immediately if they decide to chase a squirrel across your path. The drainage in some sections is non-existent, so the path floods at the first hint of rain. It's quite common to see puddles stretching way across into the netball courts. Of course, when netball training is happening, this area is full of parents and kids running around in all directions. Wherever there are trees close to the path, parts of the path have been lifted by roots. That's fine if you're on a mountain bike, but it can be uncomfortable on any sort of road bike. And then there's a playground halfway along the path, and it's great. I used to bring my kids here when they were younger. On a wet, miserable day like this one, it's completely empty. On a sunny weekend though, this area is teeming with families, and you have to slow to walking pace at times to avoid running over young kids who just blunder around without looking. And that's what young kids do. And here we see some council staff clearing away fallen branches. It's been very windy lately, and there's tree debris everywhere. There can be a lot more debris on the path than on the road, and branches are much more dangerous to cyclists than vehicles. When we come over the bridge, the path is blocked by a dog and its owner. After ringing my bell, the owners pull their dogs aside, but quite a few people walk with headphones and they never hear your bell. So you either have to take to the grass or ride up behind them and shout at them to move. Please. It's not clear on the video, but the path is completely fenced off up ahead due to demolition work on an old bridge across the canal. Notice how there was no signs anywhere warning people about this. Unlike roadworks, work crews often feel no obligation to provide any warning to bike or shared path users. I realised at this point that I should have turned the camera image stabilisation off because it fails to show just how rough the path is in some sections. When we get under these fig trees up ahead, large chunks of the path have been pushed up by tree roots and you have to duck to go under the branches. After the fig trees, we come around the corner and there's another branch that you need to duck under. Unlike roads, tree maintenance along bike paths and shared paths is an afterthought. As I said earlier, I filmed this on a wet, miserable day when there were very few people out and about. On the Bay Run, I did a user count and it was 70% below usual levels. On a weekend though, especially when the weather is nice, I'd expect to have to pass several dozen people, dogs, prams, young kids on bikes along this path. Instead of being able to average 25 to 30 kilometres now, I'll be lucky to average 15. People don't like being caught in traffic when driving in their cars, and cyclists are no different. If there's a better option available, we'll take it.